Go and get something bitter. Coffee, tonic water, a square of dark chocolate, anything will do. Touch it to the very tip of your tongue and hold it there. You just tasted bitter in the one place a diagram printed in millions of textbooks insists you can't. That diagram is the tongue map. The tongue map myth was debunked more than 50 years ago, and it's still being taught in classrooms today. Sweet at the tip, salty and sour along the sides, bitter parked at the back as if your mouth was zoned like a city. Here is why this deserves 10 minutes rather than a caption. The interesting part isn't that the map is wrong. It's that the researcher whose data supposedly produced it claimed nothing of the sort. The Harvard psychologist blamed for inventing it didn't invent it either. And the graduate student who took the whole thing apart in 1974 found something better than a correction. She found the map upside down. Bitter registers more easily at the front of your tongue than at the back. Leipzig, 1901. A German researcher named David Hanig publishes a paper in the journal Philosophische Studien, running from page 576 to page 623. His method is patient and unglamorous. He mixes solutions for salty, sweet, sour, and bitter, then drips them at intervals around the rim of the tongue, a region he calls the taste belt, and records the weakest concentration each volunteer can still identify. That number is a threshold. It isn't a verdict on whether a taste exists in a spot. It's a measure of how little of it you need before you notice. Hanig found the thresholds wobbled from point to point. Sweet came up slightly easier near the tip. Bitter came up slightly easier further back. Small differences, real ones. And he never wrote that any region of the tongue was deaf to any flavor. He also never tested umami, because in 1901 nobody in Europe had named it. The damage didn't come from his data, it came from how he drew it. Picture the figure Hanig printed alongside his numbers. It's a line graph tracking how sensitivity shifts from one point around the tongue to the next, and it plots each taste against itself rather than against the other three. Stephen Munger, who directs taste research at the University of Florida, describes it as more of an artistic interpretation of the measurements than an accurate representation of them. Then, in 1942, a Harvard psychologist named Edwin Boring redrew it inside his book Sensation and Perception in the History of Experimental Psychology. Boring took Hanig's thresholds, flipped them into reciprocals, and divided each one by the largest value in the set. The arithmetic is defensible. The picture it produced wasn't, because Boring's version carries no meaningful scale on the vertical axis. A bump representing a tiny edge in sensitivity looks identical to a bump that would represent total dominance. Readers saw 4 peaks in 4 places and drew the obvious conclusion. Nobody in this story lied. A graph lost its y-axis, and a caricature walked into 80 years of classrooms wearing the clothes of a finding. So who actually checked? Virginia Collings, a doctoral student in the psychology department at the University of Pittsburgh, working under Donald McBurney. Her paper landed in Perception and Psychophysics in January 1974, volume 16, pages 169 to 174. And it isn't a think piece, it's a grind. Collings tested 5 compounds: table salt for salty, sucrose for sweet, citric acid for sour, and quinine hydrochloride plus urea for bitter, across 4 separate spots on the tongue and 1 on the soft palate, measuring recognition thresholds for every combination. She confirmed that sensitivity genuinely varies by location, and by more than earlier work had reported. Then came the sentence that should have ended the diagram. Contrary to older data, she wrote, the threshold for bitter was found to be lower for the fungiform papillae at the front of the tongue, and for the soft palate than for the valate papillae. Read that again slowly. A lower threshold means more sensitive. Bitter tested more sensitive at the front of the tongue, in the exact territory the map had reserved for sweet. There's a second line of evidence, and it comes from surgery rather than psychophysics. Taste reaches the brain along 2 main routes. The glossopharyngeal nerve serves the back of the tongue. The chorda tympani, a branch of the facial nerve, serves the front. If sweetness really lived only at the tip, then cutting the chorda tympani should wipe sweetness out. In 1965, the surgeon T.R. Bull examined patients whose chorda tympani had been severed during medical procedures. They reported no loss of taste at all. It gets stranger. In 1993, the taste scientist Linda Bartoshuk anesthetized the chorda tympani in volunteers, and sweetness didn't merely survive, it intensified. The best reading is that these nerves hold each other in check, so silencing one lifts the brake on another. That isn't the behavior of four-sealed territories with fences between them. That's a system where the whole mouth reports at once, and losing one voice makes the others louder. Now, the real anatomy. An adult mouth carries somewhere between 2,000 and 8,000 taste buds, and a single bud is a cluster of roughly 50 to 150 receptor cells packed together like the segments of an orange. Those cells do specialize. Type 2 cells handle sweet, bitter, and umami. Type 3 cells handle sour, but they sit mixed together inside the same buds. And buds aren't confined to the tongue at all. They line the soft palate, the throat, and the epiglottis, that flap of tissue which folds over your windpipe when you swallow. This is the correction that actually matters, and it's subtler than the one people usually give. Specialization is completely real at the level of the individual cell. Segregation by map coordinate isn't. Every patch of tissue with taste buds in it contains the full set. As for how many basic tastes exist, the settled answer is 5. Umami joined after Kikunai Ikeda named it in 1908, and the case closed in 2002 when Nelson and colleagues identified the receptor pair that detects it. The count is still moving, which is the fun part. 5 are settled: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami. In 2015, Cordelia Running, Bruce Craig, and Richard Mattis published work in Chemical Senses, arguing that fatty acids produce a taste sensation unlike any of the 5, and they named it oleogustus. On the 10th of October 2023, Emily Lyman's lab at the University of Southern California reported in Nature Communications that ammonium chloride, the compound behind salty Scandinavian licorice, activates OTOP1, the same channel that signals sour, and that mutating one specific amino acid kills the ammonium response while leaving the acid response intact. Neither candidate is universally accepted. And the tongue map itself, Charles Spence's 2022 review makes the honest concession. Sensitivity really does differ slightly across the tongue, the soft palate, and the pharynx. The map isn't nothing. It's a cartoon of something small, redrawn until the smallness vanished. If you want corrections that arrive with a page number attached, subscribe. Next on the channel, why your brain deletes memories on purpose, and the cells whose actual job is